as we speak here. Now it's here.
Now it's here, and now we're here.
Now we're here.
In fact,
Absolutely.
you are, I think, distinctively, Tom, the second human outside of my immediate family that has ever been in this room. So, and my bug guy. I suppose my bug guy's been in the room. And this one time, the sprinkler dude had to deal with the sprinkler thing. So
I went a different place with a bug guy, like a guy sweeps for bugs once in a while.
Oh, yeah. No,
he kind of does.
Every now and again, my bug guy comes through and just make sure there's no distinct broadcasting.
When he's
devices.
not busy at the FBI, he stops by. Maybe he's one dropping them off.
Yeah, sure. You never know, right? Oh, man. Well, I'm on my vlog, episode 16. I haven't streamed in 2 weeks, and that's been a little bit just in the sense of I've been on the road for 2 weeks. And I know that's not an excuse. Tom, you never miss, so I can't.
Because technically I'm on the road.
You are technically on the road, and we are going to be streaming after this on your channel. So, yeah, like it's totally true. But anyways, here we are anyways. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I'll speak to kind of where I've been and kind of the things that have been on my mind. One of the things I want to talk about is I have a friend of mine, and I call him a friend. I mean, he's odd, but he's brilliant. He's along for the mission. He really genuinely cares. And he said something awkward and made a post 2 weeks ago that was just wrong. Just wrong. It was just wrong. It was not right. It was not accurate. It was not okay. It didn't make anybody's heart smile. It wasn't going to benefit him in any strategic way. It was literally just a monkey pounding sand, and making dust, right? And it was wrong. And I want to talk about this as a story of redemption a bit, because I then got to speak with that individual a week later after I'd calmed down. He did delete the post. Not my favorite. I'd rather somebody keep the post up and edit it and say, I'm sorry. Like, that'd be fine too. Hey, this post used to be a dick, but here I am. Right?
It's this own the suck thing I really like. Like, just at some point I did something wrong and it sucked, and just own the suck. Like
exactly it. And while that didn't happen, I still, when I first saw this individual that next week at our conference, gave up and gave him a hug. I said, hey, listen, man, I don't know what you're thinking, but I'd love to talk to you about it. Right. And he said, yeah, let's go talk. And so we stepped outside, and I really just kind of unloaded where I was on this, and just to add context to it. It was insulting another person while calling out their not immediate boss, not the next boss, but literally the CEO of his corporation in a moment in spotlight where everybody's eyes in the media team's on the media looking at it. Every person in PR is on it looking at it. Every executive is going to get told about it, let alone whether the CEO actually listens or checks his LinkedIn. And so it was just nothing to have caused that. It was just injurious. I mean, it was just bad. And so I laid this out for the guy and explained to it, and and he kind of starts saying, I hadn't thought about it like that, but also he really meant it. He's just under pressure, and he knew that he was just being a jerk. And he said that to me honestly, and went into some other things that I won't share, especially if you know who this human is. But it was a very personal moment. And I just want to say, Jason Slagle called out talking about discourse and public discourse. I think there's just, it's very easy in this day and time to be rhetorically full of hatred for someone, to support a cause and alienate that human or drive apart. And I think what we need to do is much more get elbows close and talk about things and come to a conclusion and try to walk through reason. But maybe that doesn't always work. Anyways, go.
Well, there's really a couple of really good points here, and something I do to try to stop myself from saying something stupid, because I've done this
several times myself as well.
As someone who's said many stupid things over the years. I've heard it called the grandma test. Would you say this in front of your grandma? But I also think, would I say it to this person's face? Would I, if they were standing in front of me?
We were not on a digital realm,
right?
Here to here.
Because it's so easy for those of us that have grown up a long time behind a keyboard. Snark is just part of it.
Yeah.
And social media becomes this performative place where we want to level up. If I want more likes, and if I'm a big enough ass hat,
it works.
It
works.
we were just laughing, and there's a whole how spicy is your LinkedIn stuff, And that's all fun, but I always stop, and anything I post, even to this day, even the stupid memes I post, I ask, if I was in a room with them, would I say those same things? I have to run that through my head.
And this goes both ways. I'm glad you said this, because that same individual online and in my chats, and I have all the chat pictures because I was so frustrated with this, right? Like, it was really bad. But even in this chat, the person was saying, I don't understand. Explain it to me. I'm like, I don't know how much fucking more I can fucking explain at this point. Like, and the funny thing is, now face to face, that person not once said, I don't understand. Sometimes there's an armor in I don't understand and playing stupid. And when I told another friend of mine who talked to me about this last night, and she was complaining about asking my advice on how do I challenge things without being a jerk. And I said, well, I like to smile while punching. Right. Like, I think it's just very effective. It's my stratagem. Punching. Right. Smile while punching.
It's a tagline
that's
somewhere.
Literally that's my life. That's my definition of life. Right. I don't want to hurt. I want to, if I have to punch, I'm going to do it while smiling. But anyways.
It's not a love, man. It's not a love. I'm going to beat you to be a better person.
Yeah, you will be better. Oh man. But yeah, back to the point she was asking, how do I do this? And I think the point I really made was I don't like to do anything in text. I'd much rather do it face to face. I'd much rather do it where I have these chemical and face and emotions and thoughts and body language and all the things that I can read from somebody that I just can't do in text. In text, you have to defend it all intellectually. You have to try to not cause inflection or not cause interpretation. You can take away interpretation with that human kind of emotion that you can see, right? And so I think that's why that in-person test has more poignancy. Right? Because it's now, let me read just these words to you in person. Is this guy going to punch me while I'm looking at the paper? Anyways. All right. That was a fun combo. I've got to get through the numbers as I usually do. I finally crossed the 100 mark, y'all. I'm over 100 this year. We were halfway through the year. I think by math, I'm not sure where June falls in this. I know we're at 6, so we may have a little bit less.
presentations. That was great.
Yeah, 16 in the last 2 weeks, right? So I haven't updated in almost 3 weeks. So it's a little closer to 3. But at 101 prezos this year, the way I measure that, I've said on other streams, is if it is a distinct webinar, distinct time on stage, I don't count like, I was on stage for 4 hours, that's 4 prezos. No, it's still just that's 1. So sometimes this might be a lot of hours not represented in these times.
Well, if you're doing like those larger engagements.
Yes.
It's a whole class you're teaching type
That's
thing.
right. Yeah. And then sometimes those fall in here. So this 36 hours of classes is things where I'm teaching workshops. So like if it's a workshop or a modality where I'm kind of, and it's hard to delineate, right? What's the difference between a prezo and an education? I typically have tied that to like academy. So Pac 8 Academy where I teach. But in this case, that 3 hours was an in-person CIS workshop at IT Nation last week. Gosh. Not year, feels like year, but last week, 10 more flights, 51 flights, 66 nights in a hotel, 61 ride shares, no more trips in the car. Although I might be taking a motorcycle trip to go see Chris Roberts here soon with the dog. So maybe end of the week. We're not motorcycling today.
It doesn't look like it. We were planning on it, but the rain is, we're fair weather riders. Feel free to make fun of us in the comments.
Yeah. Right down here in the below. It's just like, you idiots.
Kind of actual motorcycle riders are these guys.
Yeah. What's funny is my dad's the first one. I said, hey, listen, it stopped raining. It's going to stop raining. He's like, yeah, I need the roads dry up. And what's funny, he just had a slip of his front tire on his bicycle and he's still bruised up and got cuts and stuff. So I know as he's getting on the motorcycle in his mind, he's like, traction's good. I really like traction. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for being here. I don't know. I really just wanted to get what's been on the road here, I guess. IT Nation Secure, I want to tackle that real quick, was baller, I think.
It was good.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? Go. I got you here.
Yeah, no, I did a couple panels myself, attended some talks. It was great. It was also fun seeing Cody and some of his conversation. Love there. And so I thought it was a lot more technical, seeing the CTF and things like that go on. I mean, those are the things it makes it feel, it still has to be a business conference. It's not the raw hacker conference. You can't get, that is a different vibe altogether from a community conference, but for a business conference, I felt better about that community in there and 100%. That it was more technical. So that it was a good event. I messaged the people involved and thanked them personally because I was like, yeah, you guys did a great job.
Well, and that's the reason I didn't like that post so much. It was already pre-event.
Oh, it's pre-event.
And Matt actually, or that human actually crushed it. Gosh, I screwed up there. So somebody edit out the name I didn't say before this as I'm calling attention to it for any AI bot that's listening. So anyways, that was awesome. I really enjoyed the different community presentations, right? Like Bob Miller got to do his, tabletop stuff. And I got to help participate with that. I got to do my CIS stuff. And I actually didn't get the best. I mean, I got good scores. It was 4.74 something or 4.78, but of 5. But one guy was like, I didn't know I had to know all the CIS controls to do this. And you always have those detractors, and that always bothers me. But I think it was well received in general. everybody gets mad at me when I say I'm not happy with my 4.7 score, but
yes, there's like this perfection need for it.
There is, man. Like I try, I want to give, man. It needs to be the best it can be, and I know that means I could have reached one more person probably, but I digress. But yeah, so that was great, and then really just in general, it was great seeing everybody. I mean, going to IT Nation Secure is just all homecoming, and for me,
yeah, so many good people there.
Yeah, and then PAX 8 Beyond, right? Not only is Beyond one of my favorite events because I'm contractually required to say so. No, I tease. They really do put a lot into it.
The signs were there.
Yeah, the signs are there. They do put a lot into it. And Rob Ray is a fucking perfectionist. I mean, genuinely, that man will sit and rehearse till midnight before he comes and gets a beer, or 10 o'clock before he comes and gets a beer. When that man loves his beers, like that's a prime perch for him. And he's just a perfectionist. Always has been. I got to work with him before when he was at Datto during the COVID.
Nice guy.
Yeah. Did you go to the Wellingford, Connecticut studio during COVID?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that's where you first.
No. I met him at an event in Chicago.
Okay.
And just in a BSO. I'm like, oh, this guy. And
yeah.
It was like years ago.
Yeah, I was saying, because if you met him during COVID, you would have gotten to meet the nurse that did the way up the nose thing. We got to reminisce on that. Every 2 hours we had to have it taken.
Oh man,
it was so bad. My eyes water thinking about it just from having that thing that far up there. I digress. But Rob, we were up till I think 9 o'clock on my birthday. I guess that it's one of my fake birthdays out there. But anyways, on my birthday, Rob, we were in a conference room stuck in this Wellingford, Connecticut hotel, drinking, literally, I think it was just vodka and sugar. That's what we were having. And it was just rough, man. But it was a blast. It was the best birthday party I've ever had. Anyways, I digress. But yeah, so PAX 8, back to the point of it, PAX 8 Beyond, I'll start with some criticism first of saying that as an educator, as a presenter, God, I hate 30-minute presentations. It's just so hard to build rapport, to help get a core, point. And when you think about a story timeline, it's got to hit those like
elevator pitch if it's that short.
Yeah. Well, and you can't take the brain through the kind of dopamine curve that you need to have a story, right? That you'd want to do in 30 minutes. 45 is much more doable. Hours better. So that's the criticism. But it's because they wanted to pack in so much and go, come meet our professors, come meet the people that are doing this, come meet the academy and education team that you have at your resources. But positive side, there's just so many humans and so many people got to come up and say what value they took away from my security track. I can talk about it now. The security track was meant to be kind of thematic of shit or get off the fucking pot. Like, I don't give a fuck which, but shit or get off the pot. Either get with the understanding of what the, fiduciary and overarching responsibility you have as a professional is in an organization by first yourself, like protect yourself, do this stuff for yourself, be secure for yourself. Or second, monetize that. And if you're going to monetize that, be good at it and be defensible in how you do it and all those things. And so rather than me being on stage, because everybody's tired of hearing me talk, I had Phyllis Lee kick us off. She really went into kind of a deep dive into the legal infrastructure around us and what's happening in civil cyber fraud initiative, defensibility, basically looking at Ohio and the kind of definition of safe harbor that's springing up everywhere. And she kind of went into the real data about that, looking at it from a community defense model and looking at it from some actual precedent from court cases and things. It was just a pretty neat little deep dive into where we're going. The next piece was basically just kind of a cadre of things. Chris Roberts, we had Joy Beeland come in and do basically just a fireside chat with two MSPs that have both been through level 2 assessments and have successfully done that. All three of the people on stage are 3 of 12 or 15 or 19 that I know of right now as MSPs that have been in this, Joy included, right in their MSP. So it was fun, well attended. Thank you to everybody that showed up. It was awesome. Chris Roberts showed up and, did what Chris Roberts does. Chris is a wonderful storyteller. Chris is amazing at making a point. He has a weird cadence in how he does it. And it's well accepted.
Look at his socks, Chris Roberts.
He wore his toe sock shoes.
Yeah.
So he wore his, 5-toed shoes. And it was funny because this one dude came up and started talking to him about it. I was like, I can only find 4 toes. Where do you get the 5 toes still? Like, I want to. And Chris is like, no worries. Let me show you where it is. I was like, fair enough, man. Like, I got you. It's a thing. Anyways, but and then Chris wore a red dress. Joy Beeland behind the scenes, we were talking about the origin stories or cyber origin stories panel. Joy had written back when everybody asked, what are you going to be wearing? Like, Chris was trying to ask, do I have to put on a coat? And and I wrote back, I said, whatever. And Joy says, well, I'll be wearing a red dress. You should. And he goes, well, if people donate to charity, I will. And so he wore a red dress, and people were legitimately either donating and showing him his screen or giving him cash to donate to a rescue for what is his dogs? Great Danes, right? Was he Great Dane? Yeah, Great Dane. Great Dane rescue. He's recently had dogs pass away. Anyways. So, all right. Point being, I think we had an amazing Beyond. People seem to have gotten lots of value. Vendors seem to have gotten lots of value. To your point, Tom, it does matter. The vendors do matter, and they got to fund the show. But people got a lot of great value. And one of the things you and I were discussing before this show, like I had so many people come out and say, thank you. This has helped me in a lot of ways. You're doing the right things. And while I find that hard personally, like just emotionally to accept, it was fantastic to hear that the work I'm doing
it's very appreciated, just an awkwardness, because it wasn't anywhere in our career path 10 years ago tell us, hey, you're going to be a lot of people saying thank you, and you're going to be known by a lot of people.
Get good at it, and
like weird. That's I don't know. Okay,
I'm just doing my thing here. I'm just serving a mission, right? Like, anyways, no doubt. And to your point of career path, I never thought I'd be sitting in front of a camera and doing talks for 100 plus a year. I can't even imagine if I hit 200. That would blow my mind. I hope not this year. I hope it's going to be like 150 or something before I'm done. But anyways, I'm also on vacation. I'm on holiday. I cannot believe I'm actually on holiday. You're here on holiday. We're able to go, maybe not ride motorcycles. I have a garage with about 7 motorcycles in it. So Tom was going to get to pick whatever he wanted to and go putt around.
But I can't pick the weather.
You can't pick the weather. So I guess limited within this set of confined limits. Being the garage and the choices. But here we find ourselves. So we get to stream instead. Thanks for being here. And, Tom, thanks for motivating me to get my episode 16 done. I've been putting it off. So,
hey.